All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay. Right. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the WTF1 podcast. We are here for episode I do not know anymore, and we are 21. Here in Abu Dhabi. I probably should have known that,
There's
shouldn't I?
one podcast per round.
You're back, Ali. Okay, everyone can see that. Jess is obviously alongside, as always. Ali, you're here, which is
finally
disappointing. Sort of almost like a substitute Tommy, really. And we have a new person, a new face, Alex, a friend of WTF1 and also works in Formula One.
Yes.
Don't you, Alex?
Somewhat, yeah. Somewhat working Formula One.
How amazing. We've got we're getting new lineups every week, it feels like. You know, we've got Mexico, we had Jason.
Oh, we did.
Still hasn't got his hoodie. Oh well, maybe next time. Jason, if you're watching, sorry. But we're all here, obviously, at the final race week of the season. It's very upsetting. We're going to do a recap podcast of the season as well, aren't we? But today is the final time we talk about a race. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so let's go with some three-word race reviews from fans about the race. So we had Marcus Alenius, better than expected. George _down 17, surprisingly half decent. And Clovis _HK, what a race. I think Abu Dhabi in the past has had sometimes, we've had races that hasn't really got the blood pumping, I think it's fair to say, you know, especially when there's no title to be fought for. But this one didn't have a title to fight for, but
it was
my God.
jaw-dropping.
Oh my God, right?
Well, because like last year it was really, I found it last year really boring. Bottas was out in front and Hamilton just couldn't catch him. And I remember afterwards everyone was saying, they need to change the track, need to change everything. But actually this year it was a decent race that I don't think they need to change the track at all. Maybe the conditions are different. I don't know how it varies year on year and why last year no one could overtake anyone and this year everyone was overtaking everyone. But
it was a lot windier this year, and because of that there was a lot more sand on the track and dust, so it was like the grip was absolutely terrible. But previously it tends to be like if you make it through the first corner, like in a sequence, and that's a little bit harder to overtake, or just people run in a procession for the rest of the race.
I've already knocked the mic, that's good. You noticed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like the table's wobbling.
It's shaking. But yeah, I think it wasn't really a battle for the lead, was it? It was more the midfield that was incredible, which leads us beautifully on to your three-word race review, Ali, which we've teed up nicely.
I remember now, sorry. Midfield was epic because there were times where 3, 4, 5, 6 people were all battling for a position. I remember I think it was 11th, there was...
Shock, you remember the battle for 11th because
Hartley,
who was in that?
Hartley's in that one.
Exactly.
Gasly, Van Doorn, and someone else, I think. But again, then there was the Ocon, Grosjean, and Van Doorn battle. Just that whole midfield section.
You're making it sound like you've actually watched the race, Ali. Is it? Oh, it's because you were here.
I watched up to 40 laps, and then I had to leave to go and film.
We have to force you to come to the track, and then you have to watch it. If you miss the race whilst at the track, I don't think I'd ever forgive you.
Although it's like people say, whenever we go around to racetracks and we attend Grand Prix in person, you actually watch less of the race.
Yes, I miss far more of a race when I'm here.
Yeah.
And
obviously not if you're in the grandstand, like it's great, and I actually think the facilities here are really good for fans in terms of like watching the Grand Prix. But when you're working, we were flying all around the track trying to get different shots and stuff, and then you've got people asking you for things. So half the time you don't end up watching, and what you do watch is usually the TV coverage anyway. So although I did make an effort to go out and watch the cars go by from the hub that's over at Marina Grandstand, which is a great view from there. But it is more a case of like, I mean, you were watching the Sky coverage, right? On your laptop.
I was trying to, because where we were sat, we had the F1 coverage, but there was no commentary. And then obviously I'm trying to keep an eye out for internet's best reactions of all the little things that happen. But the laptop wasn't loud enough, so then there's people watching me as I'm holding the laptop up to my ear. People were probably wondering what the hell am I on? I'm on. I actually watched the start of the race as well, after in the grandstand where it's after the long straight and the hairpin where the crash was with Hulkenberg and whatnot, which was crazy, and it was such a cool view as well because you could see the grid. And I got some nice pictures and whatnot, and you could see the lights all flashing, and then they go, and you're like, oh my God, and then they came, and then Hulkenberg flipped. Yeah, it was insane.
You're actually
but the problem was, because I then needed to get back from there to the hub that we were in, because I couldn't watch it the whole race from there because I wouldn't know what was going on. Is there an earthquake? What is that?
Airplane.
That's a plane.
Airplane, of course.
Yeah.
You would know that, Ali. You love airplanes. But yeah, and then the safety car obviously came out. So I was like, right, Jack, because Jack was filming some stuff, and I was like, do we leave now? Or no, wait, no, the safety car's going to come in now. So I can't miss that. So I was just stood there like waiting for the perfect moment to then run all the way back to the hub. So yeah, it's a bit stressful, as you say. Like when you work Formula One weekends, it's actually so much harder to keep up to date because I felt like I missed the race even though I was here.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was the same for me. Like I only made it I made it as the formation lap was ending to come and actually see the start of the race, and then I had to like run before the first lap had even finished. As I was walking away, I heard everyone's reaction of just oh, and that's when Hulkenberg flipped, and like everyone just ran back into the room like what happened. But then you go off and keep doing other things. And
do.
Yeah.
But
I was catching glimpses.
Let's put away our world's smallest violins because
We
were
watching off the race when I was at the race.
Yeah.
Oh, well, where is
that
me?
sounded so bad.
I know.
I'm so sorry, everybody at home.
We
We're not trying to make
what
you.
we do.
Yeah, we love
Very
what we do.
privileged to be
We
here.
love what we do, but it just means that we kind of have to recap on
Like,
what's going on.
I'm genuinely actually very excited to get back and just put the race on from start to finish because
Yes.
this was one of the best ones that it's definitely the best one I've worked.
Yeah.
Even like this was better than the title decider in 2016, I think, and that was big.
You've brought up a fan question, Alex. It's like you've been here before, which was at CFC_Craig said, was this the best Abu Dhabi GP? And obviously you think
I
so.
Yes.
Ever?
You do.
Well, now I've made a very point of it of saying yes, but no, definitely for the ones that I've been here for, I think it was the best one that we had in terms of like track action and as well the support races. Just because that's it. Like this year, it's got a lot more coverage, the GP3 and F2, because of the way that Liberty is structuring it now, and I really like that.
What's changed in that respect? Just in case people don't know.
Oh, right. So just they're putting a lot more, I guess, effort and coverage into the junior formulas. So you will actually see like edits of F2 onto the F1 feed. So that they're encouraging, I guess, like people who might have been just a casual fan to start watching from the earlier, like the junior series and I don't know, just get a bit more involved in it. But
I hadn't seen any of the junior formulas until we came here last year.
Yeah.
And that was a hell of a lot more exciting than the actual F1 race.
well, that's the thing as well. Like even last year, we didn't have any titles to decide last year because GP3 and F2 were both wrapped up in Jerez, like the previous round. Obviously, F1 had been wrapped up, but this year we crowned two champions in Antoine Hubert for GP3 and George Russell for F2, and George Russell will be racing in F1 next year. So that's like we get to see that as well, and F1 have been great this year in covering that more.
Yeah, and I guess this year, above all, like we've had such a driver shake-up anyway in F1, and so many of these junior guys are coming through now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we get the steady overflow of them coming in, but this year feels a lot
massive.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, Albon today, obviously.
Just today,
Just
like
now.
Just today.
as we were setting up.
Yeah.
has
Just can I get
been-
first thoughts, Sally, hearing that Brendan Hart, I mean, I laugh. Brendan's actually a really lovely guy, but just because of the fact that you love him so much, what's your initial reaction?
I'm upset to see him go. I think he had a tough time here in F1.
He was very much dropped in, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's not been in a single-seater car for absolutely years. He's used to driving LMP cars and doing, I suppose, longer stints and having teammates to rely on to help him. Not that he was slow and had to rely on the other teammates, but you're much more of a team working together to finish a race. Whereas you're stuck in an F1 car, and I think you might have said this in the last podcast, that you are in there on your own, and no one else can really help you. You might talk to your race engineer, but that's it. So yeah, he very much got chucked in the deep end. I remember earlier on in the year, the Helmut Marko said that you've got to start beating Gasly or performing better, and he turned it around, and he has performed better in the second half of the season, beating Gasly in some races and out-qualifying him at some points. So I think it's a shame that he didn't really get to, in my opinion, show his full potential, but he had a season in F1, and I'm quite happy that a WEC driver has come from WEC into F1, and I hope that not just from World Endurance, but from other formulas, because I know that Felix Rosenqvist from Formula E wants to try and get from Formula E to Formula 1. So I think that
which is quite a difficult transition to make.
It is quite a difficult transition, but I think it's nice that other people from not just lower formulas, but great racing drivers from other championships have the chance and opportunity to try and get into F1.
I think Brendan's proved that there is that transition that can be made as well. Like that you might not think that racing in Le Mans, those drivers would be up there with the best in Formula 1. You know, there's two completely different cars. They handle completely differently, and yet, as you say, towards the end of the season, he's really stepped up his game. To be fair to him, I mean, he hasn't outperformed Pierre enough, obviously, and he hasn't had as bad of a season as Van Doorn potentially. You know, Van Doorn's obviously, again, it's quite difficult to compare because I saw that thing the other day saying about where he would have finished or where he would have qualified. Sorry. Had he been Alonso's teammate back when it was like 2007 or whatever. So it's weird. It's, you know, we look at it and go, well, Van Doorn, you know, clean sweep and stuff. But I mean, if Martin Brundle can't say anything because he was clean sweep twice. So
which I didn't know.
No, I didn't know, and it made me very happy because Schumacher was one of them that did it to him. So, but yeah, I mean, the midfield just in general was epic, as you mentioned, which again brings us nicely onto your thing about the midfield, because a lot of them suffered.
They
didn't
did.
they, Jess?
Cars broke down. That's my
They
three-word
did.
race review.
Oh, that's okay.
That's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Cars breakdown. This is true.
Yeah, we had a bit of a late night last night, celebrating the end of the season.
All a bit slow.
So that's the best I could think of. Cars broke down.
Hey, it's
But it was
straight
just
to the
so
point.
weird that it was the drivers that were having their final race, and it was like they were falling like flies. I was like, please, no more.
Literally every time I came past a screen, I was like, there's another retirement.
Yeah.
And that was only, I mean, it feels like 5 minutes. In reality, it was a lot longer than that. But it was just every time I looked, I was like, oh, another one gone.
Yeah.
And was it, apart from Hulk, did they all have engine issues?
Yeah, it was really.
Yeah.
I
really
wonder if
strange.
that's the wind and dust or something that has
Yeah,
affected
because
it
there
in
could
that
have
way.
been.
I read that the only team or only engine supplier that didn't break down was Renault, which is quite interesting to hear. So maybe they need windy and dusty conditions, Renault, to win a championship. It's quite funny. I was not funny. I was absolutely raging. But I was going from the grandstand that I mentioned earlier to the hub, and between that, Raikkonen retired. So I just heard Raikkonen going slowly. I was like, no.
I know.
I feel for the guy. That was his last chance to get on the podium. He may well have got on the podium.
Yeah.
He was looking in a pretty good spot, and
I mean, he kept his helmet on the whole way into hospitality. He
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
talking to anyone. Or
I bet he
anything.
was pretty sad, to be
But
honest.
I don't know if that was more because he was. I mean, I'm guessing he would have been very upset that he didn't get to finish the race. But I wonder if that's just more because he knew there would be questions about how do you feel now. Like that was your last chance with Ferrari, and I just think he's like a bit done with talking about the fact that he's going to Sauber now. To be honest,
fair,
more than he. I don't think Ocon kept his helmet on too.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I
most
think-
drivers usually keep their helmet on because obviously they're so pent up at that point.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can understand why they would.
Absolutely, but I think Ocon, again, we're speculating. We don't know what's going on inside the driver's head, but I would imagine that was more of an emotional moment for him because he is leaving F1.
And he doesn't know his future.
He doesn't
yet.
know.
Yeah.
But
Maybe he'll be back someday.
2020, come on, because he should replace Bottas. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm going straight into it. He should replace Bottas.
And now we have
had-
the next 20 minutes of Jess
Yeah,
ripping
Bottas
into
bashing.
Bottas.
I was going to put it in the schedule, but I was like, we've really destroyed Bottas this season. But just a quick word on Bottas. Yeah, no, he has been absolutely dreadful. Like another awful race
This
for him.
race was, he just kept going backwards.
I feel like there's a lot of races this whole season where me personally, and I don't necessarily watch the races, but I'm able to know
Why
what
is he here
happens.
again?
Everyone on the keyboard right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, why is Ali on this podcast?
But I understand what goes on in a race because we do there's best reactions and film the podcast, and I see it on social media, so I get an understanding of what happens. But it seems as though in a lot of races this season, I've been like, oh yeah, Bottas was racing this weekend. Do you know what I mean?
I genuinely
So
forgot
forgettable.
he was racing, and I was like, where did he finish?
It's
But-
because it's not someone that you see. You just
He
like
didn't-
blank him out in the list of names that are in the qualifications where they finish and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean, where did he end up finishing? Was he
Fifth.
No, not in the race. Sorry, in the championship.
And fifth.
Fifth.
He
and
finished
fifth.
fifth in the
Fifth.
championship,
Fifth.
which is ridiculous.
The Red
That-
Bulls beat him.
and he's in
That's
like one of
insane.
the best cars, if not the best car. on
Well,
the grid.
only Verstappen actually. I think Ricardo's behind him. I think
Yeah,
Ricardo's in
yeah,
second.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's both
But
Ferraris. Yeah.
but Verstappen overtook him
He nearly got third,
in
Verstappen.
this race.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, he's a nice guy, and he's clearly a talented racing driver. And I think we touched on it before. I think we might have even touched on it in the first podcast that was from here.
That was here.
We've come full circle, and yet again we're talking about Bottas. But there are.
I love how you point to the television as well.
No
Like,
one can see that.
we've got a race replay happening just for
because
people
we
that
are in the
Bottas
commentators
isn't
box.
outside.
Yeah. You.
Stood right there looking through the window.
Special guest.
Yeah, that would be so awkward.
So
We all ears burning.
imagine that. I'm an avid watcher of your podcast. I love every single one. I'm like, what?
He does follow us on Instagram, and we do post
Does
things
he?
about the podcast on Instagram. So
He is quite active on Instagram once because
Yeah.
we have all the driver nameplates in the car park. And last year I parked in his park and tagged him, and he replied to me, and I was like, "Shall I move?"
Yes, the only reason.
yeah, he does follow us on a number of channels. So I'm really sorry. I don't like talking badly about drive. Well, that's
We
bollocks.
love
I
a
love talking badly
bashing.
about drivers, but there is. I think as I was saying, we've spoken a lot about how there are multiple factors that will lead to a driver's success, and some of them are way outside of their control. That can be the team they're working with, the way cars are set up, and are they set up to the way that they drive correctly, or whatever.
That is a massive thing, and whether you adapt to it.
Exactly.
'Cause at the start of the year, I can't remember even if it was now like a more oversteery car or understeery car, but like it just suited Magnussen so well.
Yeah.
Whereas previous year the setup was different and he hadn't had those same results. But you don't know what's happening inside a team.
Because he was performing really well at Williams, wasn't he, in 2016?
Yeah.
Bottas.
Yeah? I
Well,
thought,
in the Williams car, like he was decent,
Yeah.
But
But again,
otherwise he
like-
wouldn't
But
have been
people-
put into the Mercedes seat if they didn't think that he had the promise for it.
yeah.
Well, and again, we've touched on this again. They didn't have a choice. They
This
did
is
not
us,
have a
yeah.
choice of what driver to put in that seat. They were left completely open, and the only
Massa.
person they could break out of that, well, they either put Massa in it, which would have been even more of a joke, or
That would have been funny.
they
I would have liked that.
or they
Yeah.
broke Bottas's contract and brought him in. So I don't think he's going to be in. I don't think he'll have a seat in 2020.
Well, a lot of people are saying that he's going to go in the middle of 2019. They reckon if he has a bad start to the season, Ocon could be swept straight in.
Well,
Depends what his contract says,
if
I guess.
Ocon's
Yeah.
going to be still there and he's going to be showing that he is quick.
Yeah, it's all up to Ocon now. He has to, in those Mercedes tests, when
Yeah.
he gets to do the tyre testing and whatnot.
It's his for
Gotta
the
smash it.
taking,
Yeah.
really. I think. Like,
I mean, we're
because
sad that Ocon's leaving, but he's becoming a reserve driver at the best team in the F1 right now.
This could
So
be the making of him. As much as it's crap,
Mm.
as much as I think everybody collectively wants to see Ocon race, it could be a massive blessing in disguise and actually be a promotion for him
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, sure, Mercedes in 2019 could have not renew his contract, and then they could have brought Ocon in from Force India. But I don't think this is necessarily a 100% bad move for Ocon to not be in F1.
Well, that's why he didn't want to go back to DTM.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
wanted to stick around.
Well, look at what
Yeah.
happened to
yeah.
Verline.
Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't want to be another Verline, which is a horrible little tiny thing in the back of my head where I'm like, I just, because you never know with Formula One. You never know.
It is
I think-
hard, like with so many drivers coming through as well.
Yes, the competition
20
is so
seats.
fierce.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
It's so fierce, but yeah. I
Okay,
think that's
enough Bottas bashing and enough Ocon.
Loving.
What's another O? No, it could
Ocon.
be
Ocon obsessing?
Obsessing.
Yes, Alex.
Hey, look at
Good
this.
with the words,
Yeah.
with no sleep.
Let's talk about a very interesting incident in the race which happened right at the start, which was Hulkenberg having a little barrel roll. We had a few three-word race reviews from fans. McMonsterJam_Joey, Nico flipping Hulkenberg, Nick G Rink hanging like cows, and Hentai Master 29 Hulk gets smashed.
Yeah.
Well, we all saw the incident.
We did, yeah.
I saw it live, and I was like, it was shocking. I couldn't believe it.
Although you got a video on your phone and you don't even move
Steady.
a muscle.
Hey,
You could
I'm
rival
like,
Farm
this is
cameramen.
content. As soon as I saw them going very close, I was like, hello, this
Yeah.
could be interesting, and bang.
But I even hear you go, ooh. and you don't even flinch.
Every
I was
other
like,
part of my body was
if it would
moving.
have been me, I'd have like thrown my phone, I think.
Secretly,
probably.
really, he's got it on an Osmo, and he's just
Yeah, he's jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
Every other limb was going mental.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Your legs too.
It was, everything, But that was quite a scary incident. Obviously,
It
we
was.
saw
Yeah.
that. But then the question that @SmokingPuppy841 comes in with is, did the halo help or hinder Hulkenberg? It's an interesting little
Yeah.
debate going on, because in the actual flip itself, yes. But
the halo didn't touch the ground.
Did it not?
No, I don't
No,
think
in which
so.
case,
it was the
no.
The air duct or whatever it is, the air intake was an actual thing that stopped
Okay,
it from
in which case,
Yeah.
his head from hitting the ground.
But that's what has always happened, right?
Yeah.
Whenever a car's flipped, it's usually that protects the driver's
Never-
head.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, not intentionally, but just through
just from
physics.
turning.
Yeah, turning. But it did stop him from being able to get out the car. But to be honest, I think even if he was upside down without the halo, I don't know if he'd have been able to. Apply.
Yeah,
still
because he's
strong.
fairly strapped in. Like.
Yeah.
It's not like gravel either. It's not like he's just gonna pop the seatbelt and then just land on his head on the concrete.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have tried to get out.
Yeah, it was just a very compromising position that the car got into.
I mean, he's also up against the barrier as well, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
exactly that.
And that's why they had to. It's not just because the halo that you couldn't get out. They had to push the car
Move it,
over so that
yeah.
he could actually get out because it was up against the barrier.
And so people maybe didn't hear the team radio about the whole hanging like cows thing, but that
I
was.
only heard that this evening, and I lost it. I thought it was so funny. Like knowing now that he's okay, I was just like, "That's amazing."
I'm
Because we
hanging
played
like a
it again
cow.
and again. Yeah.
I'm hanging like a cow.
I'm on fire.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
car's
no,
on fire.
I'm hanging like a cow. Oh no, there's fire now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, you should probably.
Yeah,
try and get out.
hanging like
Yeah.
a cow. I mean,
I honestly don't understand what he means.
I think
That's why I
I think it's
assumed
in
he
the
hit his head.
slaughter. Like,
yeah, in an
Right.
abattoir when they hang them upside down.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
But just very strange. Like,
Yeah. That's not what would have come to my head.
Yeah, I might
No.
have gone for more of the bat analogy myself.
Yeah, I feel like a bat.
yeah, or hanging.
I'm upside down.
Yeah. I'm
down.
upside down.
That's
I
not
don't-
really like her, though, is it? So that's just I'm literally.
I'm upside down like my car is upside down.
I love that. If that's any indication of what his feedback is like to the crew, like, I'm upside down. Like, how's the car feel? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's not. We've actually got to hear him in Barcelona when we went for testing at the beginning of the year. We sat in the Renault garages and we got to listen to Hulkenberg and Sainz test out the cars for the first time, and it's really interesting to hear the feedback that they do give.
Yeah.
Slightly off topic, but I just wanted to say I'm not saying Hulkenberg is bad at giving advice. I've actually heard him, and he's pretty good.
Good,
Like you
good
say for
feedback.
that.
Not
Can
that you
learn
have
from.
any idea what he was talking
I
about.
have no
He could have been
idea.
given the worst advice ever. Yeah, turn this up.
I
no,
also love,
absolutely.
No.
I
Don't
love
do
the
that.
fact that like the engineers will say stuff like, "Okay, Nico, you're gonna do 2 laps, start with burnout as per usual." I'm like,
Yeah.
on what planet is start
With
with burnout an
Yeah.
actual
If you're a hooligan.
instruction?
Yeah.
And that's funny because I know obviously like they do burnouts to kind of heat the tires up and get some grip ready and going, but I just thought they did it. I didn't know the engineers
It's
like
actually saying,
specifically instruct when
please
to
go
burn
home
out.
now.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah.
have a prescribed amount. They'll be like, yeah, do 7.5 burnouts. And you're
Yeah.
like, sorry, what's half a burnout? Like, at what point am I not burning? Like,
Yeah.
Just half on the throttle.
Well,
Like.
did you hear the team radio though from Grosjean at the end of the race where he's like, "Oh, can I do burnouts?" And he
Yes,
comes over
yeah.
and it's just like, the pit wall says no," and he's like, "What does that mean?" They're like, "I don't know. I just, the pit wall says no. I can't say anything else to you." And he's like, "Okay," burns out.
Yeah, exactly.
oh, I spun.
Oh,
Yeah.
oops.
Oh, I
spin
lost
on it,
control of the car.
the throttle and
How
oh,
many
dear.
how many fines were given out after last night's race?
Well,
Many.
Do you
Yeah.
not reckon that those three were allowed to do that?
It's a rule. I didn't see anything about it afterwards.
I haven't. Yeah.
I always thought that.
I wouldn't be
last race of the
surprised-
season,
yeah.
they're like, okay.
Because we quite often have it for, the last race.
Yeah.
So we are the last race, but we quite often have it. So I'm not sure actually if it's something arranged.
I would have thought it would have been okay.
We need to look
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, we'll talk into it more when I get to my 3-word race review, please.
Okay, go on,
Right.
please.
Do you feel left out, Matty?
It's my 3-word race review, and I'm coming in last because it's the last thing that happens. Okay, Alex, I'll stop being a baby. What's your 3-word race review? Because you're next.
Thank you.
We're so tired.
Yeah.
There was rain.
There was rain.
We really are going for the simple 3 words, aren't we? It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
there was rain, cars broke down.
We're so tired.
Gal.
We've done like 5 15-hour days on the trot.
I've
It's been
been
fun.
averaging less than 5 hours sleep a night for the last like week and a bit, and
Yeah.
it's like
Hold on.
you don't sleep very much. I know this.
Yeah.
Do I hear the violins again? Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're like,
I know. I'm
you're working
sorry.
Formula One.
But like usually I'm like a 8 hours a night kind of girl. So
Mm.
this for me is like.
But we were talking, and Ali actually stole a tweet from me on Twitter about
sorry.
this.
No.
When we
Oh,
were
I don't know about this.
Don't think about
when we
that.
were talking about how it did just seem that this year the race gods or the Yas Marina Circuit gods, whoever, I don't know
Yeah.
if somebody orchestrated it. Was it Bernie? Because he was here.
I
Maybe
did
it was
see
him.
him.
Installed a
in
few
the paddock.
sprinklers.
Yeah.
Everything happened, including rain in a desert. Like,
But to be fair though,
What?
it's currently flooded in Dubai.
is it?
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
What is going on?
God.
We do get this rain, but it's slightly earlier this year, and I'm not sure why. But all of last week it was raining. Even on Thursday morning, it was actually raining quite heavily. Around I think it was about 8 in the morning, but it just doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
But the second that it started raining yesterday, like I was walking through the paddock and I went up on one of the villas, and as I was walking up the stairs, I felt a raindrop on my arm, and I literally went, "It's going to rain. I have to go," and just went and like just tried to find a screen anywhere else that I could.
I mean, we say it rained.
It
Yeah.
It
rained,
was
but
very, very light.
I didn't even know it had rained.
it's
So I've
Dubai
said,
rain.
yeah, I've said in Internet's Best Reactions, it didn't really rain. Apparently it did. It
It
was at
rained.
the other side of the track.
Oh, really?
So,
Was it
yeah,
proper
well,
rain?
at the hairpin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love how we're still pointing at the TV that's showing the
No
race
one
replay.
can-
I'm so sorry we can't
Yeah.
show you the
Lap
race replay.
48.
I should.
Gasly's out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's before the hairpin towards the long straight. Oh, Gasly's just blown up. That's sad. We're watching the race replay just to.
This is for Ali's benefit.
But yeah, like I heard people actually saying that it was almost intermediates in some parts of the track, which
That's crazy.
Which is
Well,
ridiculous.
I made a joke today or earlier in the week because I saw them taking off all like the intermediates and the full wets, and I was like, well, you won't need those. But then, I mean, they didn't.
They didn't, but they almost
But they
did.
could have.
I
There
had a
was a
funny
chance.
submission in Internet's Best Reactions, which was like the person that brings the full wets to Abu Dhabi and the smug look that they would have
Yeah.
had walking around, seeing all the clouds and the
Well,
rain.
I even made a joke about it on the circuit's account on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, and like took a picture of them from the Pirelli garage and was just like, well, you won't be needing these. Again,
You
they
almost-
didn't,
You
but they
almost
almost
ate your words there, Alex. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, loads of people were surprised about the rain. We have air_racing, chance of rain. Felix_DF_YT, rain. Oh no, I just picked some. I picked one with 4 words.
Oh.
I'm going to get rid of
Can
the.
you make? Can you
yeah,
make it?
I'm going to make it 3 words. Rain in desert. There was the. And Lazy Dude 2911. It rained after ... as with every F1
Oh, yeah.
weekend
Did
ever.
it rain after?
Yeah, it was
Again,
raining a
very
little bit.
lightly raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were filming at IBR, and we were worried about the equipment.
Yeah.
But
We were a little
Thankfully,
bit
it was
concerned.
just a couple drops.
It was nothing.
So
It was
With-
windy the whole day though.
so windy.
So windy.
Alternate 3-word review, there was wind.
There was wind,
There
and
was sun.
I knew all about it because
There
I
was
decided to
weather.
wear a skirt.
You changed like 4 times,
I
I,
did.
swear.
Yeah.
You're like.
And Alex,
It's happened to me before in Bahrain, and I got out and I had it was a dress, and I had to stand with my legs crossed the entire day.
Same. Right.
so much relate. You guys can relate so much.
Everyone's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, violins again. Okay, speaking of rain, well, that actually impacted Daniel Ricciardo's race hugely because he stayed out for a good 10, 15 laps later than everyone else. And at Adam Thomas 17 comes in with, why did Red Bull leave Ricciardo out so long when they could have pitted him a lap later than Max? Well, for this, I kind of disagree with the question, which is obviously assuming that he should have come in, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, but rain was very much on the radar. I think it was at
Yeah.
40, well, it
Yeah.
did rain a little bit, but it was like 40% chance. They didn't know what the intensity was going to be like, as much as I guess the radars are quite good at predicting it's coming, but I think they did the right thing. You know, Ricardo was probably going to finish 4th, maybe have beaten Max, but that would have been a titanic battle nonetheless, and he wouldn't have had as fresher tyres, so I don't know if he would have even beaten Max, personally, because it didn't seem like he had much of a pace advantage on the same tyre. So for me, I thought it was a good strategy.
Although when he did come out and pit,
he was flying.
He was flying. They were saying actually it was funny because the top 4 were in kind of reverse order in terms of pace. So Lewis was just in coasting
cruising.
mode, and Ricardo was like, I can't remember how many seconds a lap faster.
I think the one he came out the pits was like 2.5 seconds quicker or
which
something.
Which is insane. So it was funny. There was points where I think you and I were going, he could have this if he has good running.
He flew up to behind Verstappen, but then it was the whole F1 2018 cars can't follow, and then his pace just hit that brick wall when he was 2 seconds behind, and then just got stuck. And, but I thought the strategy call itself. Why not? You could have been first place had it started raining at the time it was predicted.
They've won races with Max from just leaving him out and prolonging the stint as much as possible. So, they had nothing to lose. They had everything to gain.
Yeah, and
why not try an updated strategy? Plus, like Max was even though he had that strange start where his engine cut into safety mode on the start.
He got
twice
down.
Apparently. He dropped down to 10th.
Yeah, both Force Indias had him.
Yeah, it was that was a bit strange, but obviously, like, he's one of the best at coming through the field. Thanks, Alex. Words. I was going to say grid.
The struggle is the right
word. But yeah, so yeah, I think I agree with you, Matty. I don't think it was necessarily a bad call because they didn't lose anything by it. In fact, he finished a place higher than when he started.
Yeah. And Bottas wasn't really causing much of a problem, was he? He was just kind of doodling around in a Mercedes, which only gone and won the constructors and the drivers.
There's another plane.
I don't even know if it
That's
can.
Okay, we won't even hear.
It won't even come up on the mic, but
you can.
That's what it sounds like.
No, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. It's fine. So now we move on to what I delayed because I wanted to talk about it last because it's a great moment because it was at the end of the race. Iconic F1 moment is what I called it, 3-word race review. And we have a few other submissions in terms of 3 words. Vasilis, I chose these, I don't know why I've done this. Vasil Stolis 8. Fernando come back.
Why does nobody have normal usernames?
I at least put mine phonetically because no one can say mine. It's a made-up word.
Hello, Booth.
Yeah.
David Romeleri.
Oh my God.
Or are these just names and you can't read?
David Romeleri. Look, David Rommelaere.
I feel like you would take like John
Romilly?
Smith and be like Joanne.
Smythe.
David Rommelaere.
Yeah, but
Rommelaere.
come on. Donuts for Days.
Donuts.
And Tanner's 237. Thank you, Fernando. Yeah, this whole moment was just absolutely awesome. I remember being stood there because our hub is on the second straight going down towards the chicane. Yeah, above the sport paddock.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness me. I always want to film stuff and share stuff, but I was like, this is actually iconic. This will be in Formula One history for forever. So I just watched them go past 3 abreast and I was like, oh my goodness me. I was almost welling up. It was such a special moment. And for Fernando, who's had such an awful end to his career, it's been pain. To think when they had that interview at the end where Vettel and Hamilton were chatting about Alonso and whatnot, and you forget that Alonso used to win and be the best driver on the grid. And
Vettel was saying that we've missed you racing and we're going to miss you even more now because he was up there.
But that whole guard of honor was just awesome, and I heard in the post-race thing none of that was planned. Like none of that whole guard of honor. No one told them to do it. Alonso was like, I just want to catch up and do some donuts, and all of a sudden they're having a guard of honor. And how special was that?
I feel like the donuts they did out on the start-finish straight are going to be used in highlight reels for F1 for years to come.
Forever.
I think it just shows like the camaraderie of F1. Like as much as there are rivalries and as much as people don't necessarily always get on 365 days of the year, I think there's still that level of respect between the people that work in F1 that just is, you can't get away from it. And it's nice to see that it is shared even by those that maybe people think don't have that kind of respect. I think it's definitely there. It's almost innate because the things that these guys do, and that's not just the drivers but the entire teams, is incredible. When you think about it, obviously it's their job to do it, so they need to be incredible, but it's still incredible. And to give so many years of your life to this level of sport is a big deal. And, you know, he's done it for 18 years now, which is insane. Because I remember when he was like a fresh kid, like back in the days when I first started. Yeah, when I first started watching F1, and it was 2001, wasn't it? Yeah, 2001 Australia. And it's crazy that you get to watch these people grow and change teams and win championships, and then they go away, and you're like, oh, but you've always been a part of F1. Like, that's so strange. And we said in the previous podcast that there's not been that much. It felt like there hadn't been that much of a like send off for Alonso, but that will change.
My goodness
this
me.
weekend. I genuinely,
DHL being logistics partners, they sent him.
I genuinely I was very close to tears, like very, very close to tears. And I think it was the donut bits that. Actually, no, it was the Vanguard, like that. That I was like, Jesus, I can't. This is too much. Don't go, Alonso. I think it's going to be really. I think
it'll be strange next year to see the grid without him.
When they rock up and there's going to be so many new faces in different race suits. Mm-hmm. You're just going to be like, what is this?
Formula One's going to be so different next year.
I know.
Is this going to be the most amount of rookies on the grid since 2016?
I think
because 2016 was
that's a fact that Alistair does not have.
Yeah.
I love how you looked at Ali. It's like when people talk to me about cars and they go, so what's that?
Back out this conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it's 6 drivers are leaving the sport, which is unheard of, really.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the last time 6 drivers left after one season. And going back to Alonso, there was a couple of really funny moments still, even in this race, that I found hilarious. Obviously, one of them was the team radio message where he was getting an update on trying to catch 10th, and he said, you know, we're trying to race for a point or whatever, and he was like, I have 1,800 points. And then the team radio guy was like, oh, trying to get 1,801 for me, you know, sort of thing. And I found that quite sweet. And the other one was that he was just corner cutting everywhere at the end of the race to try and catch up to the Hasses. He got 3 corner cutting penalties, which is so, and he got 3 points on his license as well, which was
doesn't really matter.
I know, poor him. You know, if he ever comes, I think there's still a chance he'll come back if a spot opens up and Hamilton leaves out of nowhere or whatever, and then Mercedes.
Well, that's the thing is because I don't think he ever said like I'm retiring. No, he just said I'm not racing.
Yeah.
2019, and I was like, right, okay.
He just wanted to have a send off.
Yeah. But isn't that like that's kind of what Button did, right? Button never said I'm retiring. The way that they worded that was McLaren worded that as a unique 3-driver setup, didn't they, or something like that?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
They never named him as a test or reserve driver.
Yeah.
They just called him a support driver or something like that.
Like
and it was
to give advice or something.
Yeah, and it was just really strange.
Mentor.
Was it because Jensen didn't want to be seen to have been demoted? I don't know. Like, that's such a strange way of... Everyone was like, so you're the reserve driver. Like, that's literally what you're doing. If one of the 2 guys can't make it for whatever reason, you're there. Yeah. Like, but that's not so unique. Literally what's going on. No, don't try and, like, paint it any other colour. So maybe that's the last time I remember there being I'm out of F1, but I might come back. And Jensen's definitely not coming back. So I think Alonso is obviously, he's going for the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
He's got a good chance of doing it. And I think that's all he should focus on, and then he can retire.
I just made a really funny face to people that are wondering. I thought we were going to see the Guard of Honour, and yet they've just replayed it, and now we're back to lap 1 again. I wanted to see the Guard of Honour.
You're going to get to see Hulkenberg flipping to Narnia.
I've seen the replays of it, but I've already left the room. Just
my God, that's so cute.
That's not the analogy.
It's my analogy.
Narnia.
Okay. Anyway, I think it would be a nice thing just to touch on the other people leaving the sport. Drivers. They are people. Obviously, we had Ocon. We've touched on that and obsessing over him a little bit. So, you know, it's really sad to see Ocon go, but I think he'll be back. We've got Van Doorn, who's going to Formula E. How do we feel about Van Doorn leaving? Do we think it's fair, or do you think he deserves one more season?
No, I think if he really wanted to stick around or show his worth, he should have tried to have moved to another team, because
maybe he did.
McLaren.
Yeah. No, but he's signed up. He's pretty. I thought he was locked and loaded into McLaren.
Yeah. Right.
You can't. It's like this is the problem Ocon had.
Yeah.
Ocon couldn't go to any other team.
Let him go.
Yeah, that's not a Mercedes team. So, and you know, Ricardo had to break away from Red Bull, or like, I mean, he's been there for 10 years, so he's kind of got a little bit more way to move around. But once those drivers are locked in, it's so political, and there aren't many. Your options become very limited unless you want to break away completely and make a big risk, which for Van Doorn I think it would have been.
I think he's made the smart decision, possibly, because otherwise, as you said, like if he'd broken away completely, then he might have burned bridges and it'd be more difficult to come back.
Again,
in the future.
this is always the concern about these young driver programs anyway. Like, I think they have so much to give young drivers, and they're a very good thing, but then they also restrict drivers massively in terms of where they can go. Because, so George Russell's just won the Formula 2 championship, and he's going to Williams. Like, he's going to be at the back of the grid. He's not. Van Doorn won the F2 championship, ended up at McLaren. Like,
well, the
which
same
is a
thing
bad
with,
thing these
the
days.
same thing
Which
with
is
Palmer.
insane to
Like
say.
he won GP2 when it was then reserve driver for a year for Lotus, in the seat.
Yeah.
And then
we were actually saying
Renault,
it's a little bit of a curse to have won the F2 championship.
Yeah,
and get
it doesn't guarantee it. But then by the same token, because like I've been discussing this quite a bit, like not getting there straight away doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're not going to make it, because Hartley came back, even though, he made it in, even though it was only for one season, but maybe he'll come back. Like Kvyat has. He was demoted.
Yeah, I still keep
many
forgetting
times.
that Kvyat's coming back. I'm like, oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
That annoys me the most.
No, I'm
Why is that?
quite happy that he's back on the
I think
grid.
he's actually a really
taking
good
a Toro
driver.
Rosso seat.
Okay, well, yeah, okay.
And someone that has been part of the Toro Rosso Honda team for a year and a half is leaving and getting replaced by someone who hasn't been part of that team.
Yeah, but it's because he's better.
But Albon has been part of the Red Bull Young Driver
No,
program.
Kvyat.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
Kvyat.
My
I
mind
think
went back to
Kvyat
Albon.
deserves a spot over Hartley personally. I think Kvyat was treated like
I
absolute crap
was
person.
disappointed when he was demoted and then dropped.
Demoted
completely.
again, dropped.
And he had a good result, the race before he was dropped.
Yeah.
So
There's clearly some internal politics as I hit the
Yeah.
microphone again. Okay, so we've touched on Hartley. We've already had our little tears shed, haven't we, Ali? So we're okay with that one. Ericsson.
I always forget Ericsson. I always
Wow.
forget him.
Again, he's sticking
I
around as well, though.
I accidentally called him again. I had a list of people that we were speaking to, and I accidentally called, not to his face,
Oh my
but I
God.
referred to him as Magnussen, which is so bad.
That is bad.
No, I know, and
Sorry, Marcus.
I caught myself first, because again, like, all these people are nice people. Like,
They
they're
are
good.
genuinely
they're genuinely really
really
nice
nice.
people. But you're just like, oh yeah, Ericsson.
Yeah.
Whereas like
and-
Leclerc, like this, and that's the difference when we're talking about talent. That's the difference.
Sorry, Karen.
Charles.
Yeah.
Like he's phenomenal, and he's all anybody's talking about, and everybody's really excited about what he's going to be able to do at Ferrari, and he's driving the same car as Ericsson. You know, and like, it's just down to pure talent. Some drivers will completely excite you, and you know that they're going to do great things.
they're a presence from the get-go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are others that kind of just dwindle away and fade,
Fade.
and you won't remember their name in 5 years' time, which is sad, but that's just what the sport is. So
And that's the thing. Like, Charles made a name for himself. He's managed to get what he wants, essentially. You know, I've heard Marcus chatting to people in interviews and being a little bit more open towards the end of the season, especially when he's been announced to not be staying at the team, saying that Charles gets preferential this, and you know he gets.
staying
He
at the
is, he's
team.
reserved.
He's reserved.
Well, no, but
Yeah.
he
In the
is
race
staying,
seat,
but he's
yeah.
not as the race seats,
Yeah.
and he has mentioned that Charles. He hasn't said preferential treatment, but he's hinted at the fact that you know he's.
everything's for him.
Charles is getting the car that he wants, which is fair enough. Like, Charles has obliterated Marcus this season, like completely destroyed him. So you can't really argue against Marcus leaving. And I thought you were about to go Charles into the microphone. Are you about to say something,
Yeah.
Charles into the microphone? What are you
You're
about to
very,
say?
You're so
close, you're very
close.
close to that microphone.
I
Just
think-
having a moment.
I think we need to wrap soon. I think I'm zoned out.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I just saw your head moving forward, and I was like, she's going to go say Charles, isn't she?
Yeah, we're
No,
I was-
I just
all
said
of-
nothing.
yeah.
we're over time.
It's
Oh,
like,
I'm
dear.
getting to
Ali,
it.
Ali,
It's
there's no
the
such
end of
thing
the
as being
season.
over time.
There is.
End of the season. Jeez.
We're
One
doing the end of
last
season
hurrah.
podcast. We
Yes.
can talk about all this.
No.
But the end of the season podcast.
And finally,
is the
Sirotkin. Who
big
cares?
time.
Right, driver of the
Not
day.
bothering.
No one cares about Sorokin.
Or Sirotkin. No, we do care. I just never spoken to him. I don't know if he's a nice guy. Anyway, driver of the day. Alex, you go first.
If
Alistair, you go first.
I was pleasantly surprised with Van Doorn.
Yeah, actually.
Finished up the points, but no worries. Alex? No?
Come back to
Jess?
it, yeah.
I feel like Jess hasn't even processed the
It
question.
was, I have, just about. The thing is, I don't think there wasn't any stellar standout performances for me. There were just a bunch of good racing.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody where I was like, whoa. So for that reason, maybe I'll just give it to Alonso for being such a cool
Legend
person for, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Matt,
Oh
what about
my
you?
God.
I'm gonna go with. You can tell it's the end of the season, can't you? You really can. I'm gonna go with Sainz. He drove fantastically.
yeah.
Finished
Fair.
P6.
Yeah.
Beat Charles. Fair play. And yeah, he wasn't we're looking at it right now. Sainz was in 11th when the safety car came out. Thank you, race
At lap
replay
3.
in the corner.
Yeah.
And Leclerc was up in 5th. Obviously, Sauber messed up his strategy quite a lot, but I think Sainz drove really well. So that's my drive of the day, Alex.
Yeah, that was actually, once I've settled on one, that was going to be mine as well, because I think he had a really good race.
Copycat.
Copycat. Carlos Sainz
Yeah.
actually ran past in the background in IBR. Didn't come say hi, even though
Well,
he knows
he
WTF1.
kissed me on the cheek.
Oh,
during
okay, fine. Well,
Well,
good.
it's because he was saying hello to someone who actually knew him, but because I was there, he gave me an obligatory kiss on the cheek.
Oh, right.
And there were photographers took a picture, and I was like, I'm going to need that.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
just send me that
That's-
as big as you can.
If anyone sees it, please, I need it
God,
in my
such
life.
a fangirl. Okay, so predictions for Abu Dhabi that we had last time out.
Oh yeah, I was going
Um,
to say, we can't predict anything because this is the last
I know, I
race.
was going to do Australia 2019, but I was like,
No.
we will be here forever. Like, what happens?
It'll be fun if we film
Jess's-
next year's podcast here as well.
Exactly.
Somehow.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Jess's 2 predictions were Bottas will be given his win.
Uh-huh.
If he was at the front, he wasn't anywhere near, was he? What a useless man. And so that's not even
Oh, that escalated quickly.
Oh, sorry, we're allowed to have a Bottas bashing segment, but it's not a useless man, he's useless at driving. Mercedes. I love how we just go
Twist
back.
the
We go
knife.
back to the start of the podcast where I'm like, he could win the championship. This has changed significantly.
You all told me I was being unfair and everything.
I'm
and-
just bitter that he's completely he's watched the podcast and gone, oh, I'm going to do well, and he's bottled it. Okay, and the second one was Mercedes will deny Bottas was given the win. So you, as I said when you did it, you put
did.
your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, you said I made risky predictions.
You made it conditional.
and
on
I
the
did.
other.
I should have banked on the fact that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, big
but
fat
never
zero.
mind.
Tommy, who's not here, unfortunately. R.I.P.
He's no
Tommy.
longer with us.
He's not
Makes
dead.
it sound like
but
he died.
there will be a really, really cheesy graphic overlaid over the track to say goodbye to Alonso. Was there? I don't think there
don't
was.
think
There was
there
all
was.
focus on
No.
donuts, wasn't there?
No.
Yeah.
And Max will have a strop in the press conference about last race. I haven't seen
I
He
that.
haven't
did.
seen
He
it.
did.
Did he?
Because they put Ocon in the press conference as well.
And they sat them either end, didn't
Yep.
they? What was the strop that he had?
I can't
Do you
remember.
remember?
He said something about I didn't expect to be hit by a back marker or something.
Oh, but did you see the team principal one?
Oh yeah, Christian Horner.
Oh, yeah, that was
didn't
Toto
actually.
Wolff.
cringe.
You didn't see that one?
No.
Oh my
So
god.
They asked Toto about Ocon.
They said to him like something like, what advice are you going to give to Ocon, or what can you say to Ocon in order to prepare him for the year ahead and whatever. And he just said, well, I don't really have much more to say. He's still going to be a part of the team, blah blah blah. And then Christian
Christian came
Horner
out of nowhere.
comes out of nowhere and just goes, well, you could teach him how to
What blue flags mean.
what blue flags mean.
And then he was like, and no one else laughed.
No one
Toto
laughed.
was just like,
Toto looked like he was going to go into Terminator mode.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
And smashed the desk.
It was just awkward.
Yeah, it was
so
seriously awkward.
So I think that probably gets 1.5 points.
1.5 points. There you
Yeah.
go. These points don't really mean anything, so 1.5 points.
Okay,
Let's
next
do
one.
it. If you clap
That was
and
loud.
tell me to hurry up, I'm going to talk slower.
Perhaps
Hurry up.
they go
Okay,
slower.
it's going to be an hour podcast. This one. Okay,
It's not
my
me
two.
that I'm worried
My
about.
two are Van Doorn will outqualify Alonso. It wasn't even close. And Shah will be best of the rest, which he wasn't,
Nope.
but he
Yeah.
could have been.
No points.
And
points.
half a point. Fan predictions: Victor Kendo, easiest one stop of the season. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Well,
I mean,
some
Hamilton
people
pitted on lap 7.
Some people T-stopped.
Yeah.
And no, they didn't.
No,
they
under,
didn't.
they just pit really early under the VSC.
Yeah, there was
But it
only
was
2
one
stops,
stop.
I
There
think.
wasn't 2 stops.
So yeah, I'll give that a point. I'm not going to look at each race, so we'll just say a point. Jose Curva 22. Max will get to third in the World Drivers' Championship, which was so close. It was almost overhauling a 17-point deficit to Kimi. So I'll give you a half a point because he was close. So good job,
Finished
Jose.
third on the podium.
He did.
That's
Yeah,
also
so
qualified.
that's
not
it.
the same
Yeah,
thing.
not the same thing as the whole championship, but
Yes.
we'll give half a point. And finally, Woodsy 2020. Fernando Alonso will stand on the podium at some point.
No.
Nope.
He didn't.
He didn't.
No.
He stood on the track. I can see the
He's-
sass. Yeah, nope. Anyway, next. And that's it. We're done. The sheet's done.
We're done.
We're done.
Done.
We're done.
Season's
Oh my God,
done.
we're done.
I'm gonna
You
go to bed
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
oh my
late.
goodness me. No, we need
Genuinely.
food first. Thank you so much for watching. Am I outroing to that one? Oh, that one, Jack. Which one? That one? That one. Okay. We're switching it up.
You want it back to the wide?
Yeah, I want it back to the wide.
Okay, we're going to do it back to the wide. Ali's there like, I'm editing this. Thank you so much for watching the WTF1 podcast, not only today, but over the course of the season. It's been an absolute pleasure. We will be having, as I say, the recap to talk about all the funniest moments of the season and all the things that changed the outcome of the championship. It's been a pleasure, and thank you to Alex for being part of this wonderful...
Why do I do this one? I know someone else who does
Yay.
that.
Do you want to let us know where people can follow you?
At Alabuth.
Do you want to just
ALELBUTH, right?
Done.
Yes,
Done.
that's how it's spelled.
Ali's like, finish it. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Last race ever, not ever, 2018. Bye.